Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Huge 2 day stretch here. The playoffs begin tonight. Well, not begin. The Final Four begins tonight with the Nittany Lions teeing it off with Notre Dame. Our boy Marcus Freeman. Going to be a good game. We're going early tonight because obviously we're not going to be podcasting during that because I don't want to compete with that. So it's going to be a huge game to see who Ohio State's opponent is going to be in the national championship game. Again, they're down in Texas. They made it in safely. They did their interview stuff last night. Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian met with the media today, did the last little shebang before they go and hit the field tomorrow. So everything is according to schedule. Everything is moving along swiftly. And again, I really like the bowl preparation. I like a lot of the stuff that I've heard. I love how we're there for a short time business trip. It's not a big boondoggle like they used to be. So I think this bodes well for us because our guys have a process. And the good thing about this playoff is these guys know their way around and they've been successful. Obviously last week was fantastic. So it's all business at this point, and we're going to get into that as always. If you guys enjoy our content, please say like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, appreciate you guys, love you guys to death for all you guys are doing to grow this channel. Huge news potentially with Carson Beck is now in the portal, and Ohio State is interested. I don't know how interested, but I think it could just be a bidding thing. This is it reeks of Cam Ward at this time, or it was actually early December last year. Cam Ward and Ohio State had a lot of overtures, and Cam Ward had declared for the draft. And I think this is something that's happening now with big time quarterbacks where they are all of a sudden basically evaluating all options and seeing what kind of NIL offers they can get for a single season out of college. So, obviously if you're seeing what Will Howard has done in the past year and how he has improved his draft stock under Ryan Day, it makes a lot of sense for these guys to come up here. But do I think he's going to be our starting quarterback? No, I think Julian Sayin will be, but we're going to get into all that again. But I appreciate you guys following our content, sharing our content. I've noticed that there's a big uptick in new people to the show. Thank you to all you newbies. Appreciate you guys joining the Scoop family. Again, love you guys to death. And we're going to get into this thing because I know you guys want to watch the game just as bad as I do. Nevada, a lot of motion in the transfer portal. Mark Pantoni has his sniper rifle out, and he is sniping some big-time targets. Damon Wilson is coming in this weekend to visit. The tackle from Montana is coming in. We're going to get him for sure. And then Carson Beck entered the portal today after declaring for the draft 2 days ago. Again, I think there's a public declaration of the draft, but you have a deadline to file the paperwork. And I think that the new meta for these kids is, especially quarterbacks, is, well, let's see if there's somewhere that we could go and develop for 1 year and get an extra bag of money, potentially up to $10 million for a single season. Or do we go to the draft and do whatever? This is a kid coming off a pretty significant elbow injury, did not finish the season. It hurt Georgia severely. What are your thoughts on this? Because Carson Beck obviously was the preseason Heisman favorite, did not have the season that he wanted, but they still were pretty good. I mean, they beat Texas at Texas, who were playing tomorrow. Good player. I mean, obviously he would be a guy that I think you'd at least kick the tires on. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just think that we're talking about a dawn of a new era here, and this is the discussion that you and I had a few weeks ago, where I posed the question to you about quarterback. Would you just go out? Is the meta just to go out and get a veteran 4 years, 3-year, 4-year starter from some other team every year? And is the day of signing a high school quarterback, waiting for him, developing him, and having him come play for you, are those days gone? And I everything that I've heard about Julian Sayin would indicate to me that he's the quarterback of the future. That they like him a lot, they believe in him, but it has the win now thing just been amped up so much that win now means you absolutely must win immediately, first day one out of the gate. You've got Texas coming in. You must beat them. What gives you the highest and best opportunity to win that particular game? And would that cause you to look at a veteran quarterback? And I don't believe it does. I think that Ohio State is operating under a salary cap. We've talked about there's a finite amount of money that goes around, and if you have a quarterback, I'll use an NFL example, but like a Brock Purdy, who you've got on a rookie deal, and he enables you to spend money other places. that's kind of the equivalent of what you got with Julian Sayin. I mean, I'm not saying Julian Sayin's not getting anything, but he's not getting anywhere near what you'd have to pay one of these guys that's, the Cam Wardish, Carson Beckish types of players. So I don't really know what to make of this, because this one kind of caught me off guard, because I did not believe, and I've not been led to believe, that Ohio State would be looking at a serious quarterback. Now, I'm not talking about a backup, reserve, emergency, fifth year guy type of thing, but this would be a serious move if Ohio State made it. And I'm not shocked by much when it comes to Ohio State, but this one would be truly shocking to me, because I've heard so many good things about Julian Sayin. It just seems to me that they're all in on that. But so I don't know. I'm not at a loss for words very often, but this one's kind of got me flummoxed a little bit, and I'm not sure what to make of it.
Well, I mean, the thing I make of it is that Ryan Day is an absolute killer. And if you say, Kirk, what are the traits that you want in your coach? I want a killer. I want Urban Meyer. I want Tress. I want Ryan Day. Again, all three very different styles. But I reported 2 years ago, going into the year the Kyle McCord started, that Ryan Day made very serious overtures, not directly. None of this is ever direct. You got to understand, these are always back channels through agents. That he went after Drake May at Carolina. Drake May is going to make $500 million as an NFL quarterback. He was the presumptive number one pick in the draft, ended up going 3 to the Patriots. He's going to be Mike Vrabel's franchise quarterback. He's the guy that made the Patriots are by far the most attractive open job, because you've got a young superstar quarterback. But Ryan went after him hard, and Mac Brown told him to stand down, again, through back channels. And again, that's very well sourced. And again, when that happened, I was like, damn, I was like, I love it. I love Ryan Day. Cause the thing I know, if there's one universal truth in football, it's that you need a great quarterback to win. You do. You just can't do it any other way. Again, people say the 2000 Ravens, that this one time in 100 years where you didn't have an exceptional quarterback, who could get you to the championship, and people say Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett's a really, really good player in the SEC in college, maybe not in pros. And I'm just talking at whatever level. Again, I always say that I only care about college football. I don't care about what they do in the NFL. That doesn't matter to me. Tyler Hansbrough is one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. Couldn't play dead in the NBA. I just care about what can they do. This is JT Barrett. JT Barrett was a phenomenal quarterback at Ohio State. I just care what Tommy Frazier. Those guys could do great in college. I don't care. Danny Werfel. But again, when Ryan went after Drake May, I knew it was the dawn of a new era. I knew that, because Drake May was going to be a 1-year rental, but you're going to Miami and you're renting a Bugatti to drive around for a weekend, is what it is. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go get the biggest, baddest one that I can get. And that's what Ryan's doing. And so, do I think Carson Beck is going to be our quarterback next year? No, but you have to understand, this kid has got a severe injury. I'm sure that he went to James Andrews or one of the major surgical centers to get it evaluated. And again, what is his stock right now with an injury, a severe injury, got hurt in the SEC championship, didn't finish the game, going through the combine process, going through medical evaluations, going through, again, like when you've got a severe injury, and again, I had my knee was at the combine. I got hurt at the Senior Bowl, went to the combine with a bad knee, and literally I was taken off the board. I found this out after I fell like a rock to the 7th round of the draft. My knee was so bad that teams were just like, yeah, he's not going to make it. And you know what? They're right. My knee was atrocious. But that being said, with Carson Beck in that elbow injury, that's something where, if you enter the draft and you get the injury, he's not going to be able to throw before training camp. He's not going to be able to do any of the OTA stuff. They're probably going to get him he's basically going to have to redshirt next season. So with that in mind, if you're a general manager who's trying to save his job, how high do you go on a guy that probably won't be able to play next year? Or if he does, he'll be limited and he's not going to have the offseason program. And for these rookies, the offseason program is the most critical thing in the world, because that's where they learn the playbook. That's where you can really grind them and teach them everything so they can hit the ground running for training camp. Where, if you're Carson Beck, and you're looking at like Oregon, you're looking at some of these teams, Notre Dame, Ohio State, they're losing their quarterbacks. Texas has Arch Manning, obviously, so that's probably not a real candidate. But there's going to be some people, the Miami Hurricanes, that have a lot of NIL money that might throw $8 million at him and say, hey, you know what? Why don't you come play for us for 1 year? You know, his girlfriend is the one of the Calendar twins or TikTok blonde basketball players for the Miami Hurricanes. So, you know, it makes sense that if she, you know, hey, I'll go to the U if you pay me $8 million and live on the beach with my girlfriend for a year and get my elbow right. Or if I was crazy quarterback dad, if I was like Derek McCord and, you know, was like Johnny Moxon's dad, you know, in Varsity Blues, I would say, son, I don't care if Ryan Day offers you $1, you're going to that dude. Because what Ryan Day has done for Will Howard, and Will Howard was a very good player coming into Ohio State. He is now an excellent player because Ryan Day and Chip Kelly know how to coach quarterbacks. Again, it's like if you say, Kirk, you know, would you rather make a bunch of money as a base level salary working for this company, or would you rather go work for free for Steve Jobs and be his shadow? So I'd rather, you know, work for Steve Jobs. I'd rather, you know, take somewhere where I'm really going to improve and become excellent in the field that I'm chasing. It's much like kind of learning the message board game from Nevadabuck. It's like, you know, who's better in the world to teach me how to, you know, run a message board and the tenor of a message board and podcasts and everything else that we do together. But I think that it's the new meta because this gives you basically the whole pie, the whole swath of options between where am I at in the NFL draft? Because I'm sure that he's got, I don't know who his agency is. It's probably Athletes First or CAA or Rosenhaus or one of those guys. And they're evaluating, okay, they've all got contacts. They all have GMs. They all have people that they talk to and say, where does Carson fit? Where is his projection? Should he come back? And again, it's the same thing Quinn Ewers going through. Like Quinn Ewers is 99% to the draft, but you know, if someone offers him $10 million and says, hey, you know, you could improve and be the number one pick next year, you know, and you're going to get a $45 million guaranteed contract, like you consider that, you know, because again, like it's better to do that than it is to be a second or third round pick. And again, with quarterbacks, 99% of it is going to the right place. If you go to the right organization, if you go to a place with good, stable ownership and good people around you, your life is going to be great. If you go somewhere where you don't have that, it's gonna be hard. I mean, it's like I've seen the Browns chew up and spit out, you know, 50 quarterbacks since 1999, and you watch a guy like Pat Mahomes go to the Chiefs, and he's got Andy Reid, and they've got great infrastructure on offense, and he's a fantastic player. But having Andy Reid kind of as the tutor makes your life way better, and I think that that's the thing that Ryan gets. And when people say, Kirk, what's the most important thing that you want in a coach? I say, I'm a quarterback developer. Ryan Day's the best quarterback developer on earth at this point. And that's why when people wanted to gas him, I was for Mike Vrabel, and I love Mike Vrabel. Dude, give me the guy that can develop a quarterback. We have had the best quarterback play run in the history of Ohio State University, 120 years of football, since Ryan Day came to the building. You know, so it wasn't some accident that all of a sudden our quarterback play became excellent, and we've had more first rounders and 5-star commits and all the like. It's because he is that dude. And again, that's why I love him to death. And you know, again, we don't get along, whatever, but I love what he does with the quarterbacks. And so the Beck thing, it sounds crazy, but you know, we went after Cam Ward last year. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft, and then we got Will Howard, who's probably going to be, you know, a high to mid round pick. I don't know where, depending on how he tests. But what are your thoughts on that event? Because again, I love it, and again, I love the ruthless aggression, and again, I think Julian Sayin is going to be a fantastic player, but is he ready to win a national championship next year? Because that's where we're at now with this transfer portal stuff. It's not about feelings. It's not about morale. It's about let's be ruthless. And again, when there's free agency and every player can become a free agent every year and we can sign them all and there's no salary cap and we've got the money for it, why not just tee it up and try to win a national title every single year? What are your thoughts?
Well, it just changes the calculus for everybody because for a player like Julian Sayin, then you know you kind of go through the logical progression of this, where like if all the big schools are basically looking for 1 year experience rentals to come in and play quarterback, then you almost have to go somewhere else to play quarterback to begin your development path before you get picked up by one of those big development, bigger schools. And um, I just, I mean, I wonder, like, like with Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers started at Ohio State, and obviously Texas wants to move on to Arch Manning or whatever they want to do, start the new era. Um, you know, does Ohio State go after Quinn Ewers? I mean, as crazy as that sounds, but I mean, if they truly were going to go after Carson Beck, why wouldn't you go after Quinn Ewers? I mean, Quinn Ewers, in my opinion, is better than Carson Beck. And if they were both available on the market, I mean, why not? At least you had a connection there. But man, I don't know. I just feel like this is just so. Um, I won't say it's not crazy because it's not illogical, but it's just such a fundamental change in the way that you know the quarterback room's been developed historically. As I know Ohio State's mined the portal for quarterbacks and very successfully, but it's generally been when we've had a deficiency, and right now it doesn't seem like we have a deficiency. It seems like we have a wealth of talent in the room, but it's become a matter of just patience. How patient will Ryan Day be? How patient will Ohio State be? How much will they want to wait on that next big thing? And if and when you do make a move like this, um, obviously that does that completely clean out your room? Does that completely send a message to guys say, look, no matter how whatever happens, we're going to go get somebody else who's got 30 starts under their belt and that we know what they can do. We don't have to guess what they can. We have to project what they can do. So I just don't know. I mean, like I said, if you put a gun to my head and said who's going to be the starting quarterback for Ohio State next year, first snap, I'm still going with Julian Sayin. That's what I'm going with Julian Sayin. Final answer. But this whole Carson Beck thing is, and I remember when you said the Drake May stuff, and that was kind of fanciful at the time. That was kind of crazy talk, to be honest with you. And now it's proved that your sourcing on it was 100% correct, because you see from subsequent actions that's exactly what Ryan was doing. That's exactly what Ryan Day does. And I think this year with the quarterback thing will tell us, because if we do it this year with this quarterback room, then I think you're pretty much pot committed to the strategy of going after a quarterback in the portal just about every single year. Because I don't think you couldn't have a more favorable development situation with younger guys in the room. And if they don't go with a younger guy now, I don't think they'll ever do that again. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I just, and again, they've had bowl prep, and I mean, those guys know Julian like the back of his hand, and I think that he's good processor. And again, like, gun to my head, if you say Kirk Coos is starting quarterback, that's Julian Sayin. But again, those guys, they know, and Ryan's not always right. I mean, again, he wasn't real sure on CJ when he was going through the whole thing, and then CJ turned out to be the second overall pick and developed rapidly, and so to me, it's something where I think if Ryan can mitigate his risk and take a guy who's been battle tested, and I mean, again, like, we aren't Kyle McCord fans on here. His dad's crazy, and he knows that. But Kyle was jettisoned last year, and honestly, he had a good year this year. I mean, he's the ACC career passing leader guy or whatever, and now their schedule's terrible and threw for 1,000,000 yards and against bad teams, but that's still a thing because a lot of other people played in the bad ACC, and it would have been super easy and maybe good for team morale or whatever to keep Kyle installed as the quarterback after he was okay last year. I didn't think that he had a particularly great leadership style, and I thought he was kind of just like I thought he was terrified in big games, but Syracuse much easier. There's no pressure. Nobody even knows that Syracuse football exists, so it's perfect. And he did great. So it could have been very easy for Ryan to keep him installed as the quarterback. He's got his friends on the team. He's a 5-star kid, and Marvin Harrison's teammate, the whole 9 yards. But Ryan went out, and the crazy thing is we turned down Cam Ward, and so that was he's gonna be the first pick of the draft to take Will Howard. He picked Will Howard over Cam Ward, which again, I wouldn't trade Cam Ward for Will Howard. I think Will Howard, for everything that he's brought to this program, I'm eternally happy with and indebted. Because I think he's got all the tools, and he's got that trait that you can't really describe, but you just know it when you see it. That leadership, that the guys follow him, does everything right. I mean, he's just a great kid. Like, love everything about the kid. I mean, I'm not saying Cam Ward isn't, but I mean, I'm not trading anybody for Will Howard at this point, especially in this playoff. But Ryan. Again, when you have to live in that blast furnace that is Columbus, Ohio, and it is Ohio State football, and it is the expectations, which are suffocating at times, like, he's going to arm himself to the tooth. And if that means hurting feelings and going out and getting a superstar quarterback, he's going to do it. Again, like these guys, with him and Mark Pantoni and Brian Schottenstein with the NIL money, it's like they're going to try to build the best roster they can every single year. It honestly, what it reminds me of is your boy Les Snead with the Rams when they would make fun of him, and he had a T-shirt at the Super Bowl parade that said "F them picks," and he was trading first round picks and second round picks every year to get Jalen Ramsey and trading 2 first rounders in Goff to get Stafford, and he's just loading up for bear every year. It signs in Ndamukong Suh. I mean, we're kind of like what the Rams were a few years ago when it was like screw cap space, screw the long-term vision, screw development. We're trading our first rounders. We're getting Jalen Ramsey. We're getting Stafford. We're getting all these guys, and they dunked and they won the Super Bowl. Which again, when you've got the pressure of being in a new building in Los Angeles and you've got people in LA have 80 billion things to do, like it was a great move. Now again, they had a little rebuild and now they're back in the playoffs doing good, but that's kind of where it is, except you don't lose your draft picks. Like now it's just like, let's just go for broke every year and try to get a veteran quarterback. And again, like with Carson Beck, like his stock has plummeted since preseason. He was the guy, kind of the projected number 1 pick, projected at the worst top 5 number 1 quarterback, did not have a great season. And then he suffered a bad injury. So, again, do you want to go through the draft process as a car, a totaled car, as a car that's got a huge wreck on its Carfax report? Or do you want to go back to school, make kind of a mini first round signing bonus in $8 to $10 million, and then, develop under a great quarterback developer like Ryan Day, which is what I would do. And then go out and have that monster Heisman Trophy level type season like you do. Because again, go watch Will Hard last year at Kansas State. Watch him this year. I mean, very good player at Kansas State. Exceptional quarterback after Ryan Day got his footwork right, got his mechanics right, taught him the game. Again, when you're sitting with Chip and Ryan Day, it's you're sitting with Steve Jobs. You're sitting with literal geniuses in the offensive throw game and the mechanical quarterback game. So if I'm him, if I'm Beck's dad, I'm saying, like, if they give you $100,000, you're in. See ya. We'll be okay. Because what you'll make as you catapult yourself into the draft will easily recoup anything that you lose if you went to Oregon or Oklahoma or Miami. I wouldn't send my kid to Miami if he was a quarterback in a billion years. I know Cam Ward is whatever, but Ryan Day is the guy at this point. So just my opinion. Nevada, any thoughts on that? And we can start digging into some super chats.
Well, just a couple. I'll ask you a couple. We'll play a couple of questions where Nevada asks the All-American, and you just got to shout out the first answer that comes to your mind. Okay, first question is, do you think Will Howard would have sat out the second half of a bowl game with his team losing like Cam Ward did?
No, hell no. I mean, come on. Like it's like I told you, like if God, and again, I'm devout and I love God. If God wants me to get hurt, anything that happens in my life is just his plan. And again, I'm not going to go down, I'm not going to give you guys a sermon, but it's like, that's how I always felt when I stepped on the football field. If I'm meant to get hurt, I'm going to get hurt. So if it's his plan for me to tear my ACL in the second half of the Pop-Tart Bowl or whatever they're playing in, then that's just what it is, So again, if you want to sit there and be scared, buy a dog. Because again, you can't be scared when you play football ever. Because guess what? When he gets to that next level, and I know that he's about to be the number 1 pick, but I mean, come on, like I honestly, I have a lot of respect for Shador. I mean, Shador played that Alamo Bowl. Now they went out all week and got hammered and went to the strip clubs and they played like trash. But he at least played the whole game and he was getting annihilated and he sat in there. So I actually have more respect for him than Cam Ward. I don't care what the optics of losing or winning the Pop-Tart Bowl, which obviously. But are you an ultimate competitor or are you a guy that turns it down? Because you can't be both. You're one or the other. It's the on or the off switch. You can't turn the lights halfway on. And again, I'm sure Cam Ward is competitive, but he's going to go to a terrible team and he's got to get the crap beat out of him. And he's going to go to Tennessee and be terrible next year. So I don't know. But Will Howard ain't sitting out of nothing. And that's why I like him. Next question.
Second question. Where is Ohio State right now if Ryan Day stays with Kyle McCord and does not go out and get Will Howard?
I just don't. We're not. I don't think we're in the playoffs. I don't think that he's as dynamic. I don't think that he's got the leadership ability to raise everybody up. I don't even think he's as good of a thrower as Kyle is. You know what I mean? That's Kyle's kind of like trait is that he can throw it, but I didn't see it last year. And again, we had Marvin last year who won the Bolitnikoff, and so again, the receivers are probably a push, but I just think that with what Will Howard brings, especially with his legs, because I think this Texas game, man, he's going to have to make some runs, some scrambles to move the chains, and Will Howard, or excuse me, Kyle McCord cannot outrun me, and I'm serious about that. He is lead foot, and frankly, it's not always just running out in the open. It's not just running an RPO or a read option or a design quarterback run. It's being able to be evasive in the pocket, because again, our tackles have been a mishmash. Josh Schreier's been up and down. I think he's a very good player, but I think he's dinged up right now. And our left tackle tore his patellar tendon, so he's out for the season. So you got a guard in Donnie, and Donnie's has rapidly gotten to be a very good pass protector. But we've had a lot of young guys in the middle. There's been a lot of leakage in the middle, which again, that happens when you're playing a bunch of young guys and guys out of position, whatever. So his ability to evade people, keep his eyes downfield, and create has been incredible. And again, it reminds me of Troy. Like, because when I played with Troy Smith, there would be times where we'd play a really good team, there'd be some leakage, and he'd get out of the pocket and either take off or he'd throw it downfield, and it'd be a complete and Braxton did that a lot when he was younger, didn't really know the plays. He could get out of stuff and make a play, and that's something that Will does. And Will's, like I said, that's the difference between winning and losing. That's the difference between the fact that in this playoff, where again, if I laid out a bet for you guys for the first two games, and I said we're playing Tennessee and their SEC Defensive Player of the Year defensive end and all those good linemen, two incredible pass rushers at the ends, and then Oregon with Harmon and Mateo and all those guys, and I said, here's the bet. In those two games, with us rotating Luke Montgomery and Austin Sourville, Carson Hinsman, Donnie, in those two games, I don't know what kind of odds I'd give you, like crazy odds. We're not going to give up a sack in either of those games. Everyone in the world would say, oh, someone's going to get one sack. Someone's got to get one sack. I mean, come on, it's football. Like, there's always a blown coverage or a blown pass protection assignment, or a running back gets ran over, or tackle gets beat because he's laid off the ball, whatever. We didn't give him a single sack. And again, there's times where Will Howard was in trouble and he's smart enough to get out of it, get rid of the ball, evade it, scramble for yardage. And it's not a lot of pressure. Like, our guys have been pretty clean, but that all adds up to keep us out of negative situations with the sticks, with moving the ball. So again, that's the difference to me. I'm not taking a quarterback for the rest of my life that's not an athlete, that can't move like Kyle McCord, because he's too lead-footed. If he goes to a bad team, he's going to be like a piñata, and that's what happens to these guys. They get out there and they hold the ball forever and they get smoked. And like we probably would have been out after the second round, because again, the pass rush would have gotten to him. And again, he was the guy that when we played Notre Dame, he was terrified. It was palpable. And I was like, oh my God, please let us survive this with this quarterback. And we made it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think we make the playoff. I literally don't. I don't think we make the field. I think we're Alabama at that point, and one of the first teams left out. But Kyle threw for a ton of yards, also threw a ton of picks. Wasn't as efficient as Will. Certainly didn't have the pocket presence. Has got a really good arm. He's legitimate. If he's given time and he can sit back there and throw it against bad defenses, man, he can throw it for a bunch. And actually made a bunch of money betting on him this year. Betting on props where for over yards or over touchdown passes, because he's going to get his. But all the intangibles, all the little things, all the stuff all the chain movers, he brings none of that to the equation. So I think Ryan chose well with the fact that we're the betting favorite to win the national championship right now with 2 games to go proves that Ryan made the right call. Will's been terrific, and love everything about that kid.
Well, here's my other thing, because people say, "Oh, Kirk and Nevada are big meanies," and Kirk's a Quinn Ewers guy and whatever. Like what we just said is exactly how Ryan Day felt, right? Like I said, the easy thing to do for Ryan Day is say, "Look, we've got 3 years invested in this kid. We've been coaching him for 3 seasons, and he's our 1-year starter, and he was second. I don't know if he was second team all, I don't know what he was, but Ryan knew deep down that he wasn't the guy. So again, you got to understand when you do something like this, when you pull the rip shoot, and when the dad walks into the office with Ryan and Kyle's there, and they demand he's the starter, they demand the NIL deal, they demand that he's got security, and Ryan's like, no, I'm not doing that. And again, this was when like there were already whispers about Will Howard, and so the Will Howard stuff started early December. Again, go watch our podcast. We were breaking it left and right, and Ryan's got to know that this is going to set off an earthquake in the locker room. And again, for me, I like it because to me, it's like, nobody's going to be comfortable or safe in that locker room. If Ryan can replace starting quarterback who was like, okay, then he can replace anybody. And again, that's kind of what he's proven is like, look, if you're not up to stuff, we're going to go get somebody that is, because that's what we can do now. This is infinite free agency. And again, for Ohio State fans, like, great. I mean, because it turns up the heat on all these young guys. They can't take a vacation for their first year in red shirt and hope to develop, because they can get replaced literally like in December. if they want to slack around and screw around, not go to class, do whatever. And I've seen guys like that. They get redshirted. They think it's a vacation. I was like, dude, you better put in that work, because you put in that work, man, it's going to be, they're going to go get someone to take your spot. And that happens. And again, I love Ryan's mentality. And now again, I don't know if when they mention Ohio State, it's a bidding war thing, because Ohio State has been paying guys. And well, if we put Ohio State in the equation, like if we put Ohio State and Oregon in there, then we're going to get bigger offers from Miami and whoever else. But I think that it's there's going to be some serious inferences. Now, again, they're going to get his elbow checked out and everything, or whatever it was, whatever got hurt, and see what the timetable is. Because, if you're not going to get him till the season, it's going to be tough. If he won't be ready for spring. But, and is he a sizable upgrade? I mean, he was a preseason Heisman favorite. So, again, he's evaluating everything. I don't know why he'd enter the draft with a bum arm. Because, you got to, when you're a quarterback, man, you got to go out and throw. And if they don't think you can throw, or you're going to lose velocity, to me, if I was him, I'd say, look, let's go somewhere, get the bag, get developed. Because again, it's not like he's going somewhere for free. He's going to go there somewhere, make $8 million and put it in his, investment account and learn rehab, get his arm, and then go put out some great tape. Because if he goes and puts out great tape, then he could be the number one quarterback on the board for next year. It'd be like him and Arch. So, all right, we got a bunch of super chats, Nevada. Anything else?
No, just I think you summed up one of the great things about there's always a good side, and the bad news about player thing is that instantaneous free agency portal, blah blah blah. But the flip side of that is it keeps everybody on their toes, man, and you better be sharp, because if you don't, you're going to lose your job. So that's the one benefit of the teams, is you can immediately go out and upgrade any holes you have. So it definitely is a two-way street.
Well, yeah, because everybody wants all these players, they want this autonomy to be able to leave whenever they want and whatever. And I'm like, well, if you're the coach, well, okay, well, it's two-way street, it's two-way hockey game. Against Will Smith. Let's try not to die today. And again, Will was first team All-American, captain, everything else. It's like, let's try to hang in there versus Will today. Because if I can block that guy, I can block anybody on earth. And so, but there's a lot of kids that they just kind of try to get, they're just, I call them survivalists. They would just try to survive the game, try to survive practice, try to survive the season. And I was like, guys, if you do that, you're never going to get to the point where you're going to be an early starter. And that's why, I took, everyone's job as a freshman the next year, is because I worked like I was just completely insane. Guys would be like, "Why are you lifting so heavy? It's a Sunday," and I'd be like, "Cause I didn't play on Saturday. Because on Sundays, the day after games, when you're in the Woody Hayes, like they always have kind of like a recovery lift. It's kind of light. It's kind of get the soreness out, and they make it a little bit harder for the guys that didn't play. But I was like going crazy, because I was like, Sunday was my favorite day to lift, because like we don't even practice till Tuesday, so you got a whole day to recover tomorrow. So you can lift legs, you can squat real heavy and do all that stupid stuff, and you don't have to worry about your legs being dead for practice. So I was pushing big weight, and guys were like, "Why are you lifting so much?" I was like, "I want to play." Like I hated not playing. It was like misery. So again, now like the guys that are on vacation, they're just going to be processed out of the program, and they'll end up going to Pitt or Syracuse or somewhere where nobody cares about football, and kind of is what it is. All right, Mike Greene, what is up, brother? I hope you're having a great Thursday. Appreciate you always being on here, my dude. Thanks for the deuce. I heard Damon Wilson is a lock, Nevada OH. Well, we've got a guru named Funky Buck. He's got a show on Sunday with B Moses. You guys should check that out. It's at 6 o'clock every Sunday. But Funky put the Funky bomb in yesterday on our website. Funky is a rising superstar in recruiting, puts in a lot of legwork, getting sources and getting to know people. And yeah, that's what he went with. So if Funky's in that mood, in that mode, then yeah, I think that we're going to be in really good shape, and he's going to be a Buckeye. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Funky had Max Clare before anybody. He had it before I had it. He had it before you had it. He had it before anybody had it. So yeah, Funky Bomb definitely in on more, and so I'm a believer.
All right, Nevada, SC Buckeye, thanks for the 5, and thanks for being ultra memorable. Congrats to Nevada's daughter and Team USA junior girls team. The under 18 team is 9-1 the quarterfinal win over Slovakia. USA. Nevada, your spawn had a Grant Fuhr hat trick, which is a penalty, which is awesome. A penalty, an assist. She had an assist as a goalie, and she let one in. So she has... In the entire tournament, in the entire World Juniors, there have been 4 shutouts in the entire tournament from all 8 teams, and 3 of them are by little Nevadabuck. But your thoughts? I know that you are a proud and very, very cold dad at this moment in freezing cold Finland.
Yeah, no, she's been good. Team's been great in front of her. She's been good, and got an assist. Yeah, got an assist, and like you said, got a penalty. So, but the assist was big. I think that's her first assist in 3 or 4 seasons. And so to get one at the World Championships was kind of exciting because goalies do not often get points. And so she's now the career shutout leader for world, or tied with Alex Rigsby for the most shutouts in the history of USA Women's World Hockey.
And what's funny is that was her hero growing up. So she's tied with her hero, which is always kind of cool when your idols become her.
And she's an underage, so she's got another year at this age. So I think she is destined to break that record at some point.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So, hang on a second. I skipped a couple supers. I'm gonna start at the top. I apologize, Mike. Mike Greene, again, this is the first super chat, so I apologize. I got you coming next, Sergio. Thanks for the deuce. It's Texas people saying overwhelming Texas fan takeover. Well, I mean, it's in Dallas, again, well, if there is any, and this will never happen, but if there's something that would make me very happy in my lifetime, and again, this won't happen, if Cleveland builds this beautiful new stadium, which they're building, and we host a national championship game and Ohio State plays in it, then we'll finally have a chance to actually have like the advantage that all of these Southern teams have, where it's like, oh, we get to go play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, or not the Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, and it's in Atlanta, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of dogs here. It's like, yeah, because they got to gas the car and drive an hour. Our fans got to fly and dodge snowstorms and book overpriced hotel rooms, and when you do that 4 straight weeks, it's really expensive to do. And frankly, I think that's a portion of the fan base is saving for the national championship. So I'm sure that there's a lot of Texas fans there, but we knew that, and we're not dumb. There are a lot of Ducks fans at the Rose Bowl, but we smashed them. So the key to these road games, even if you're playing at Penn State or if you're playing the Texas Longhorns in Dallas, is you got to start fast and score. You score 14, go up 14-0. The fans don't exist anymore. They're thinking about what cocktail to get, and they're ready to go start the bus up. So start fast, put your foot on their throat, and get the dub. And our guys are going to do that. Nevada, your thoughts? Mike Greene saying Texas is taking over Dallas.
I mean, look, I heard the same thing about Tennessee fans. It was Neyland North. They were going to tear down the goalposts, throw them in the river, and I mean, I think the fans it's going to be close to 50-50. I mean, I can tell you, Ohio State sold out their allotment in about 14 seconds. So the tickets went fast. There's been no lack of interest from Ohio State fans. So I'm not so sure. I mean, Texas may have a slightly, I'd say maybe 55-45, but I don't think it's going to be lopsided at all. And Ohio State fans also represent, man. The ones that are going to be there are going to be loud, and I have no doubt they'll put up a good showing for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Sergio Sama, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my dude. It's been great getting to know you a little bit. We really think that Carson Beck would be a better quarterback than Sayin next season? I don't think so. And his face is offensive. He is a very ugly human being. I will give him that. He's not like Will Howard is like super. You know what the funniest thing of all time is Carson Hinzman calls Will Howard Mr. Beast. And like, I've never been able to get that off of my mind. It's always called him like Justin Bieber, but he does kind of look like Mr. Beast. But he just doesn't have the facial hair. I mean, Will Howard looks like a guy that probably can't grow facial hair because he looks like he's looking like a giant Bieber. But I don't for a year. Beck has tape playing in the SEC. Again, like, I don't want to be crazy, but he was the preseason Heisman favorite, and he had lofty goals, and frankly didn't attain any of them. And Georgia's, again, if you want to watch bad football and people that want to complain about like Ohio State, go watch Georgia versus Notre Dame and go look at how bad their skill players are. I mean, Brock Bowers might be the greatest skill player in the history of college football after what they were actually able to win games with how bad their receivers were. And Brandon Ennis would be their number one by far, and he's our number 4. But that's just kind of is what it is at this point. So I think Carson, he's probably looking at Will Howard and he's like, well, damn. Here's my thing. If someone said, Kirk, if I'm Carson Beck and they say, Kirk, you can come up here and you've got Jeremiah Smith and whoever, I'm signing up. Done. Over. Chip Kelly offense, Jeremiah Smith, like he's never seen anything like JJ. And then you get Max Clare, great tight end. He loves peppering the tight ends. He did that with Bowers. So I don't know, but that's just me. Would I think he'd be better next year? Here's the thing. I don't know because he's not healthy. I don't know how bad that elbow is. And again, like if he was fully healthy, then yeah, he'd be better than Julian Sayin. And again, it's not because Julian Sayin can't be a superstar and the next Aaron Rodgers, which is what I think that's what I think is kind of his archetype is. I think that it's more that he's a known quantity and he's played. He's not a freshman who's ever going to be a sophomore who's never played college football. So that's my difference. And again, that's why you see you see all veteran quarterbacks at this point of the Quinn Ewers has played a lot of football. Drew Allers played a lot of football. Riley Leonard and Will Howard. I mean, none of these guys are, first year starters at all. Now I know that Riley Leonard also came from Duke, but he had a lot of starts under his belt. So you don't see a lot of true sophomores because there are growing pains. And again, in this day and age with Ryan Day and the pressure cooker and NIL, it's like, do you want to live through those growing pains? It's kind of like if you could sign a superstar quarterback in the NFL, or if you could draft a first rounder, like I'm signing a superstar. I'm signing Drew Brees, trading for Matt Stafford, because I know that he knows how to play in this league, and I know that he's a difference maker. And as opposed to drafting one and just kind of hoping that it works out, like I'm taking the veteran who knows how to do it pretty much every time. Nevada, your thoughts? Do you really think Carson Beck would be better than Julian Sayin? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the real question is Carson Beck really dating one of the Cavender twins? Did you say that?
Yes.
Or did I dream that? He is. So, man, first of all, I don't think the Cavender twins are all that, but man, Beck is offensive to look at. He's hard to look at. And his face is kind of very disturbing. So just on that basis alone, I'm disqualified. I'm officially saying that Ohio State is out of the Carson Beck sweepstakes just based upon how unattractive he is. And we're going with Julian Sayin.
I mean, I like that. There you go. I mean, Julian looks like a little kid, though. To be fair, he looks like a small child.
Yeah, but not an unattractive small child. I mean, there's unattractive kids. You've seen.
Oh yeah.
I know. Not every kid is cute. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are ugly that try to podcast and their ratings aren't real good. So they should just be on. There's a lot of guys that don't like to use their cameras for podcasts and. They're just not really good at it. So. No, well, I mean, you do it. That's your shtick, though. It's not like you're Mr. Hey, look at me everywhere else. Like that's always been your little shtick. And plus, the best part is I don't have to fix your camera because, like, if I had a camera, you wouldn't know, Kirk, I don't know how to plug it in. I don't even know how to turn this on. I don't even know what that means. It's just like the less technology, the more I can incubate you from ever using any sort of technology, the better my life is because then I don't have to be fake IT guy.
You're a very, very smart man.
I don't even know what that means. Hit the on switch. I don't even know what that means. Great. All right, let me FaceTime you and fix it for you. Regis, sorry,
Couldn't
the
figure out how
Pink
to
Floyd
turn the computer off.
turn the computer off, unplug it,
It was
plug it back in
hard.
after
It was
30
hard.
seconds.
It was hard. It was hard.
Well, yeah, because you're in Finland. It's probably frozen into the wall. There's like probably
Oh
icicles coming
God.
out, sparks, and glorious, beautiful Finland, aka Siberia. So
Oh man.
I can't wait. If I had like a camera crew on you when you hit the states, you're gonna kiss the ground as soon as you get back to the United States
God.
and working Wi-Fi and everything. It'll be awesome.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Regis, sorry, the Pink Floyd piano cover artist. That is awesome. I don't know if you do bookings or anything, but anyone that can help my dude out, that'd be awesome. And I always love your Dark Side of the Moon cover. That is super awesome. Thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. If OSU does have conversations with Carson Beck, what type of conversations like to take place between Ryan Day and Julian Sayin and or other OSU QBs about that? Nevada OH. Well, I think that it'll be the standard. We're just trying to improve the roster and bring in competition, and it's no different than the Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins for $1 gazillion, and they draft Michael Penix, and they're going to cut Cousins and pay him $80 million for one season, which is great. But I think that it's hey, you got to explore all options. Again, these are big boys, and Julian Sayin could hit the portal too. So again, you got to, when you're Ryan and these guys, man, you're working short term. Let's make this the best roster. Like in the words of Nevadabuck, let's make it unfair. Let's give us the best roster possible, best chance for success. And because again, the thing with modern college football and all football, NFL and college, there's no waiting. There's no timetable. There's no development. We got to get going right now. We got to win right now. And if Ryan can do something to improve this roster, especially in a substantial way, he's going to do it. So that's just my opinion. So I'm sure, Julian Sayin might have his feelings hurt reading this tweet, but Ryan Day doesn't care about feelings. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just to me the issue with Beck is the injury stuff. I mean, you've got a guy that he's damaged goods. How quickly he's going to be able to come in and really get the benefit of all that coaching if he's not 100% healthy. And you've got a Julian Sayin there that could be the next big thing. So, man, Ryan better get it right. I mean, I trust him to get it right because he's been pretty spot on this. But man, that would be that. I just don't believe it. Just because something's on the internet, I'm not totally buying it. Sometimes teams can be stalking horses, and I think Ohio State is an attractive stalking horse because that'll drive up the price. And there's a lot of equity in saying having Ohio State affiliated with any potential free agent as we go home. So I'm still not buying it. Reserve the right to change my mind, and but I'm still not buying it. I'm still Julian Sayin or bust.
Yeah, I am too. I think that Julian's going to be our starting quarterback, but again, there's I wasn't surprised last year because he didn't believe in Kyle McCord. I think he believes in Julian Sayin, but again, you're going to evaluate all the options because there's always interest, but is there a crazy price point? Is he really healthy? There's too many variables to know right now because I'm not a doctor. I haven't seen his MRIs, but I know that he didn't sprain his ankle. He's got anytime a guy's got a shoulder and he can't finish a game, that's something serious. And again, I don't love the idea of a new quarterback not being able to go through spring football because I think that that's really imperative in development. But again, Ryan has forgotten more about quarterbacks than I'll ever know. So I always defer. If in doubt, I defer to Ryan Day on quarterback development just because he's been exceptional at it and he knows what he's doing. Theory, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. OSU paying for Beck makes as much sense as Texas paying for Beck. Better for OSU to use that NIL money on defensive linemen when you have Sayin. Well, the difference is with Arch Manning, Arch is going to be in year 3 next year. So he's had 2 years to develop under Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian, and they've stuck to the program. And I'm sure there was a little bit of a surprise when Quinn decided to come back. So I think a lot of people thought he was going to be 3 and out for the league. Came back for another year. But I think that Julian's only going to be a second-year guy. So again, I know guys have done it. CJ Stroud did it. But do I want to live in a world where we have to rely on basically a redshirt freshman to carry us to a national title? Because again, we don't have time to wait around. We have JJ and Ennis and Tate, and you got to make sure the guy can feed him. And again, Ryan's in all these practices, and Julian's been good, but is he truly that guy? I don't know. And we've got a young room too. And would it kill Julian to wait another year to start as a third year guy? I don't think it would. Now I don't know if he'd be down with that plan, but again, I'm not trying to best of both worlds. I'm not trying to scenario you guys to death, but Arch Manning did it. I mean, he's gonna wait till year 3 to become like a full. He started a few games this year when Quinn was hurt, but he's sat behind Quinn, and I don't always think it's bad. Again, if you guys watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary, I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat for like 5 years, and he's maybe the smartest quarterback that's ever lived, other than Peyton Manning. I mean, he's a rare genius level player that really understands the game, and he sat for 5 years or whatever it was behind Favre, or 4 years. I mean, from like 04 to 2008, I think. So, but that's just my opinion. Nevada, your thoughts? OSU paying for Beck makes as much sense as Texas paying for Beck. Better for OSU to use that NIL money on defensive linemen. No, I don't think that we have a cap on our money. That's the thing. And now there is a cap. You can't just spend blindly on people, but I think that's why you see a lot of our reserves leaving, because frankly, as much as it'd be great to pay Zen Mikulski what Indiana's going to pay him, it doesn't make any sense to pay your fourth tackle, starting Big Ten tackle money. Eventually that's the same as in the NFL. Like guys move on because, you got to fit it all into the pie. You can't just blindly pay everybody as much money as they want. So is what it is. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're talking semantics, but I mean, there is a finite amount of money, and the reality is you can only hit the donors and the institution hard so many times, and I kind of agree with the poster. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. And back to my original point, he's so darn unattractive that, like, do we really want to have a quarterback that darn unattractive that we have to look at him for an entire year? That would take away a lot of my enjoyment from watching Ohio State football to have to do that. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to make that sacrifice.
Well, I mean, like, I love Cardell, but Cardell's not exactly, Tyson.
Yeah, that was 3 games. That was 3 games. We could for 3 games we could do
boy,
that.
big chipmunk cheeks, my boy Dale.
You're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17 games and looking at back, and that's disturbing, man. I've got kids, man. I've got kids that got to watch these games with me. I'm not sure. You got little kids too. Do you want little Kirky watching, seeing that on TV?
He'll be playing Roblox. He doesn't even know what a football is at this point. So he'll be shooting down airplanes with his little Roblox tank. So becoming a true killer. So when I unleash him on the football field, I'll be thinking about his killing stuff, because that's all he does all day. Thomas Ridley, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you. Parker Fleming and forward Dave CJ. I don't think that's true. I think that was there's so many urban legends as to how we found CJ Stroud, like G. Scott and Jackson Smith and Jigba were at a 7-on-7 camp, and they got paired on a team with CJ, and CJ was just on fire and dotting those guys up, and they called Ryan because CJ. I mean, because G. Scott and Jackson Smith and Jigba were both like 5-star guys, like 4-star, high 5-star guys, and they say, hey, you got to recruit this guy. He's awesome, and poor Miller, the kid from Scottsdale, was already in the class, and we ended up taking CJ, who goes 2 overall in the draft. So it was a good call by those guys. I don't know if Parker did that. Justin Fields came via the portal. No, he didn't. The portal didn't exist when Justin. We had to do the Thomas Mars transfer waiver thing. But Ryan went after him, so he didn't just show up at the doorstep with a waiver and say, "Hey, I'm here." Like, Ryan went after Justin, and again, great move. Love Justin Fields, great Buckeye, great player. They recruited Brown and McCord. Day QB whisperer, 5'11" bouncing balls. Julian Sayin is a huge question. I mean, Kyle McCord's at the AACC passing record, and Dwayne Haskins threw for 50 million touchdowns, and CJ Stroud went 2nd overall. And I mean, Ryan Day recruited CJ Stroud. I mean, just because Parker Fleming informs him of that, or whoever, I don't even know if that was Parker Fleming. I think that's just an urban legend, but I think that he has to evaluate these guys. And again, as much as we bang on Kyle McCord, like he set the record for passing yards in the ACC this year, and that's the conference that's had Deshaun Watson and Cam Ward and big time quarterbacks, and he's the guy that's got the most yards ever. So I don't think that that's a terrible one. Devin Brown hasn't materialized into what we thought. I mean, Devin Brown was the number one player on On3's rankings at the end of their recruiting cycle, so he's been a miss. Again, I'm not, again, nice kid, great family, but again, there's a lot of, if you want something that's like the surest bet of all time, bet on the number of 5-star quarterbacks that don't materialize into almost anything. And it's, go back and look at some of these lists, and you're like, yeah, I don't even know if these guys have, if their eyesight's bad, if they're blind, if they even attended any of these kids that are ranking these kids, because a lot of them, they bust out. It's super common for 5-star quarterbacks to bust out. I could name a bunch that I played with that were busts, and just kind of is what it is. You got to keep it moving, and that's why, like, again, the portal is great because you could process the busts out, which is something that honestly, when I played, I wish that we could have gotten some of those guys out of there and gotten some guys in that could play, because it makes the roster better. Nevada, your thoughts on it's hard for me to be critical. I mean, we're very fair with Ryan. I mean, if he needs criticize, we'll criticize him. If he needs praise, we'll praise him. But I don't know if I could really talk about his quarterbacks as an area of because he also recruited Quinn Ewers, who is starting a playoff game and is probably going to be a first-round pick. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot lower hanging fruit that you can use to criticize Ryan other than that. But I mean, CJ was really well known throughout Southern California. I mean, CJ he's from Rancho Cucamonga, which is it's the home of Grandma and Grandpa Nevadabuck. So literally, like, it wasn't like he was some unknown quarterback playing at some youth hostel up in Saskatchewan or something like that. So I don't know if Parker Fleming discovered him or not, but his exploits were well known throughout Southern California, and so I didn't know he had legitimate Ohio State interest, but as a quarterback, I mean, his name had been out there for years. So I'm not surprised that when Ryan saw him that he was interested.
Chris Slusher, thanks to the 5. Kirk, why don't you and Ryan Day get along? Can you explain? You're so cool and former player. Go Bucks. That's not the right term. I mean, I text Ryan, and I helped him raise NIL money this year, and it was 6 figures of NIL money. So guys want to know where to give to. Ryan reached out, made a nice relationship. Guy wrote a check. So again, I love helping Ryan, but again, we have a job to do. Again, our job is to be fair to you guys. Like we want to be here for the folks. So again, sometimes we have to say some stuff that isn't always what the overarching, what Big Brother Ohio State wants to say. Because again, we want to be fair, and again, sometimes they don't like fair. They're not great with criticism. If you say anything even mildly critical, then they get very upset and threatening. And again, we're not in the business of threatening or of saying anything that isn't factual, that isn't true. And plus, we break a lot of information that, frankly, doesn't hurt the program, but they don't necessarily always want it out there. Because again, we are the most pro Ohio State podcast in the history of podcasts. Like I have 2 degrees from there. I got a Buckeye tree, got my photo up on the wall in the Woody Hayes, whatever. But we also have a job to do. And again, our loyalty is to the folks, you guys. And again, and we've become the largest and most powerful Ohio State site and podcast in existence because that's our motto. Like we're fair, we're balanced. We want to give you guys real perspective and not just mealy mouth coach speak. And, oh God, if I report this, then Ohio State's going to hate me. Cause again, we don't report bad stuff. We've gotten so much bad stuff from the Woody Hayes, and I'm talking about players, about coaches, stuff that would be very harmful to the program that we sit on, because it's not my area to hurt the program. Now, we will be critical of the program. We'll be very fair towards the program, but we also love the program. And again, I've got 2 degrees from there. Like I wore Ohio State stuff after they lost to Michigan the next day, because I always like to wear it, because I always feel like, a lot of people put their Ohio State stuff in the closet after a loss, and I make it a point to wear Ohio State stuff, let alone I wear Buckeye Scoop stuff every single day of my life. So again, that's where it's at. So again, we will never be whatever, we don't fawn over them. We're not fanboys, but we're accurate. And again, that's what we get judged on, is honesty and accuracy when it comes to reporting stuff. So that's where we're at. Nevada, do you have anything to add to that?
No, just look. I mean, we're not in the bag for Ohio State. Ohio State can threaten everybody else with, "We'll pull your credentials. We won't give you access to the," and we're like, we don't care. So like that's where the conflict comes between us And that's what makes us different than every other person covering Ohio State football is everybody else cares. And we don't care. We care about the program because, like Kirk said, we love it. We'll protect it like our children, but we're going to be fair and we're going to be critical when we need to be. And Ohio State does not like when you're critical. That's just facts.
Oh, and we have the text messages to prove it, baby. Because when we get Mark Pantoni fired up, he's got our numbers, baby, and he's got us on the group text. And you know the one I'm talking about, the recent one. It was great. So I know. Like I said, come on, guys. And like I would rather literally. I can't. I'd rather cut my grass with scissors than go to a press conference. Because again, unlike everyone else in the media, all these journalists and all these guys. I used to sit in the meetings during training camp where they would bring in a squad of people that would teach everybody how to deal with the media. And it was like, okay, let's role play. Okay, so, hey, Kirk, what do you think about the quarterback controversy? Do you think that this guy should play or this guy should play? And, what should Kirk say? Kirk should say, anything regarding playing time should be deferred to Coach Day, and Coach Day will answer that. And I think they're both great players, and I wish them well. So obviously, I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff because, again, if you're trying to censor me and make me boring and castrate me when I'm talking to the media, I was like, yeah. When I used to deal with the media as a player, I was all of their favorites because I actually gave them real quotes, good insight, never nothing to hurt the program. But I knew that those guys had a job to do. And for the most part, all of my teammates absolutely hated the media. And most of the players still hate the media. Now, they work with them and they're cordial with them. But behind closed doors, the media will stab them in the back so quick. And they know that. And I knew that. I mean, we'd lose games and we'd be treated like a piñata in the press, which is fine. They got to do a job and they got to sensationalize things. But I was always very fair with those people because I knew that they had a job to do. And I know that there's nothing more miserable in the world than leaving your house on a Wednesday night when it's 20 degrees, driving to the Woody Hayes, sitting there like a slave, and hoping that, I get 10 minutes to talk to, Will Kazmarek. And I'm like, great, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to write my article about the third string tight end. But hey, some of those guys eat that up with a spoon. But, Oliver Twist wanted to eat more porridge too because he was a homeless orphan. I'm just not in the porridge eating business. So again, it is what it is. And again, I like our model because frankly, I don't like leaving my house, and Nevada lives in LA. So neither of us would ever use a credential anyways. So there you go. There's my answer. General Chrome, I love your AVI. I love the Hulk. I'm excited to see the Red Hulk in the new Marvel movie. Thanks for the 10, brother. People who are down in Ryan Day for quarterback development are crazy. Haskins, Fields, Stroud, McCord just couldn't handle the pressure at OSU. Howard easily got better. Than he's ever been in his career. Nevada OH. Nailed it. Grand slam home run. Drop. I mean, I could literally, if this thing wasn't attached, I'd drop the mic on the ground. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Because again, we're very fair with Ryan. And again, if Devin Brown doesn't pay, you can't, like I said, finding a quarterback is kind of like the panhandlers, the 49ers mining for gold. You're not every time you scoop that thing in the river, you're not going to find a bunch of gold nuggets. You got to do it for weeks to find something. And that's what it's like getting a quarterback. They're not all going to hit. So excellent super chat. Appreciate you, my dude. It's on here. Schaefer Healthcare, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my friend. Percentage chance that Ryan Day is coaching in the NFL next season. The latest rumors have me concerned. We can't blame a man for taking a better opportunity. However, the Ohio State head coaching job is better than 75% plus of NFL jobs, in my opinion. Nevada OH. I'll let you go first on this one.
I'd say after we win the national championship, I'll say there's a 30% chance that Ryan Day is gone. 30%.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. If there was a job that he would dive in for, it'd be the Patriots. I mean, he's from there, and they've got the quarterback. They've got Drake May, but that seems like it's Vrabel's got probably his name is on the office at this point. They got to go through the formalities with the Rooney Rule, but I mean, if I'm Ryan and I'm looking at where would I really want to go coach, I want to go somewhere where there's a great quarterback. I want to go somewhere where there's a good structure in the organization. And I don't want to go somewhere for what he does that's in a dome. or is it in warm weather? Because I think that, again, not trying to be soft or whatever, but I think that it's a lot easier for what he does with his offense to play 8 game. Your home games are all on a dome. I think it's a big home. So I don't know what that is. Again, I had a wild conspiracy theorist that has been very accurate in the past tell me that Steve Sarkisian is going to get the Cowboys job and that Texas's number one target is Ryan Day. And now, again, this is from people that have serious money at Texas, and they're kind of over Sark, and Sark's kind of over. The Texas donors are completely insane, and that's something that Ryan's going to deal with a lot of stuff at Ohio State. Our fans can be a little wild, but the Texas donors they drive the coaches completely crazy, and I think that Jerry Jones and it's funny because I said this literally last month on the podcast, and people thought I'd been out at happy hour for a little bit, and I really hadn't been. But literally, Jerry Jones, he is in this weird limbo right now with Mike McCarthy, and I don't think it's too hot. He doesn't really want him, but if Sark loses tomorrow and he wants to dive back into the NFL, which he's proven he's done. I mean, he left Alabama as the OC and went to Atlanta, and again, those Texas donors wear you down to a nub because they're all billionaires. They all give a ton of money. And when they give money, they think that they deserve access to everything. And more importantly, they think they have influence and opinion, and Arch Manning should be the starter and this guy should be playing. And why is it my NIL baby out there? And that gets to be very, very exhausting and stupid. So as great as the Texas job is, the donors suck. And they all think that they're the athletic director. So that gets a little old. So, but yeah, I'd say probably 5% because if he's not going to the Patriots, then I don't know. And I'm not saying that Chicago just seems like a terrible job at this point. Even with Caleb Williams, the weather sucks. You got to play there, Green Bay. The Vikings are really good. The Packers are really good. The Lions are the best team in the NFL right now. So I mean, that's not a great job in my opinion. If Dan Campbell retired and the Lions came open, you get to play in that dome with all that talent, sure. But I don't think Ryan, and again, I think Ryan's soft or anything, but I just think that when you're that throw style and that weather style, like he wants, he would go dome, good weather, quarterback in place, or high pick to take a quarterback. And I just don't think this is the year because I don't think that Cam Ward or Shador are franchise quarterbacks. I just don't. Like the guy, like I said, the one I always looked out for was New England because he's from there. And now they have Drake May, who's 22 years old and is a superstar in the making. And like if I'm going to go dive in, it's kind of like when Urban went to Jacksonville. He had the number one pick, and Trevor Lawrence was coming out. So I thought that would go obviously a lot better than it did. Obviously, it went off the rails, in the first half of the season. But that's just my opinion. So, all right, Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Game is going to kick off shortly. Any thoughts?
No, just I mean it's all over. It's all over, but the game, and now we just got to go get it done. I really love where the Buckeyes are at. I really think they will get it done. They should get it done. They're better than Texas, and I'm calling it multi-score victory for Ohio State tomorrow night in the Cotton Bowl. Mark it down. Hold me to it.
I love it. Absolutely perfect. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Appreciate you guys. Again, we want to get you guys out of here before this playoff game kicked off. But if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys always kicking it with us. Great show tonight. Really fun show tonight. So, again, I just appreciate all that you guys do. So, with that being said, if you do something huge for us, please give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and enable the auto downloads. It's a huge help for us. Again, we just get we're trying to grow this thing, man. It's huge, and it's a lot of grassroots stuff. We don't have a marketing agency. You're looking at the marketing agency right now. So appreciate all you guys that are helping us out and spreading the good word. So that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Again, I hope you guys have a great night. And in the comments, let me know who you're rooting for tonight. Are you pulling for Marcus, pulling for Penn State? Who do you want to see us play in the championship? And we'll have a show leading into the game tomorrow night. But I just appreciate you guys. So you guys have a great night. And let's get ready to watch this playoff game. Go Bucks.